Good morning, this is Jim Williams with the Hurricane City Tropical Update for August 27th, and it's around 9:30 a.m. Here's the graphical tropical weather outlook from the National Hurricane Center. All eyes are on Isaac in the Gulf of Mexico. We had former Invest 97L out here that's really struggling with shear and dry air. This is probably not going to develop. It's down to 30% chances. And we have a new system coming off the coast of Africa. This will be our next Invest, and the models are indicating this is going to move generally off to the west and develop slowly. This could become Kirk, the next named storm, so we'll watch that closely. But right now, all eyes are on Isaac in the Gulf of Mexico. So let's get right to the HurTrack program. And first of all, let me show you the actual pressure wind graph and what's happened with this system all along. It's really struggled. We had a peak here around 70 miles per hour when it was near Hispaniola. And you'll see ever since then it's kind of struggled to regain itself, and now it's slowly but surely strengthening again once it's getting away from the land masses and the warm waters of the Gulf of Mexico. But this is probably not going to ramp up to a major hurricane. I'll get to all the reasons for that in just a minute. But let's go ahead and take a look at the forecast position for this system going into tomorrow night. Here we go. Here's the animation, and the system moves into the New Orleans area. That's our current feature at Hurricane City. And you can see here tomorrow night at around 8 p.m. That's when the system's making landfall. So you should have all your preparations done by tomorrow afternoon in these affected areas that are going to be affected by Isaac, which should be a Category 1 hurricane at this time. And again, we'll do full coverage at hurricanecity.tv tomorrow night, the Hurricane Warning Show, as Isaac makes landfall. So be prepared for that. But let me show you these surge maps, potential surge maps. Oh, actually, before I do that, let me show you the pressures. Here's the pressure using the HurTrack program of Isaac from the beginning. You see it slowly intensified. The lower the pressure is, the more the winds come up. And we had a peak wind here around a pressure rather in 980 millibar range, 980s, upper 980s when it was over near Hispaniola. And then it tangled with all the land masses. The pressure went back up again. Now here we are, the pressure lowering once again with those purple colors here as this moves into the Gulf of Mexico. So we have a slowly strengthening hurricane, but there's no rapid intensification going on here by any stretch. Now here's the all-important surge maps from the HurTrack program using the slosh models. This is a Category 1 hurricane heading into southeast Louisiana, and you can see that we have up to 5 feet of water inundation, even for a Category 1 hurricane. So the residents in and around Louisiana and Mississippi need to take this very seriously. Even though this may not be a major hurricane, there's going to be a lot of water pushing up in here. Folks, this is a really, really large system. Here in South Florida, we're still getting gusts up to tropical storm force, and we're well over a few hundred miles away from the center of this. So even people in the Florida Panhandle are going to get belted by very high winds and rain from these squall lines moving into, circulating into what will be Hurricane Isaac. But this is a very large system, so be prepared for that no matter where you are in the northern Gulf Coast. Hurricane hunters are flying around out there this morning, and they're doing their alpha pattern, flying back and forth through the center of the storm. There was our first vortex message, 992 millibars. Now we're at 989 millibars, so we definitely have a strengthening system. It's dropped 3 millibars. So we have an open eye, 32 nautical mile wide eye in here, and we have a difference of about 4 degrees between the inner and outer eye wall temperature. So we have a strengthening system this morning, and this should go ahead and steadily strengthen, but it's not going to ramp up. You're not going to go through a rapid intensification process, I don't think. And here's the reason why. Let's take a look at the water vapor loop of our system out here, and if we stop it, you'll see that there is and has been, actually let me go a little forward with this and stop it at our current position right here, and you'll notice there's an upper level low to the southwest of Isaac, and that's been traveling in tandem with Isaac, and that's been stretching Isaac east to west, not allowing it to vertically stack. And the wind shear has been affecting this system all along, not to mention all the land it's been interacting with. But now that it's out in the open of the Gulf of Mexico and this upper level low is beginning to pull away, the system may be able to get its act together before it reaches the coast. But again, I don't anticipate any rapid intensification. And we have this trough moving by, which is going to allow a weakness and turn Isaac off to the north. just it could happen over in Mississippi, or it could happen over toward Morgan City, Louisiana, but somewhere in that range is where this is expected to make landfall. But keep in mind, this could strengthen a little bit more before it makes landfall. Okay, let's take a look at the graph from our weather tower here in Delray Beach. Now, this was yesterday's wind speeds, 42 miles an hour out of the southeast, and this is way, way away from the center, almost 200 miles away from the center of circulation when it passed by Florida. And we're talking 42 mile an hour winds out of the southeast. That shows you the size of this massive wind field. And here is our rainfall here, and this is another big factor, is rain. 7 inches here between yesterday and this morning. And some areas around here have had up to 10 inches of rain. There's been some local street flooding. There's been tree limbs and twigs down all over the place, but nothing major. But still, for a system that far away, this is what you could expect 200 miles away from the center. And look at the winds on the scatterometer here. Still, tropical storm force winds all off the southeast coast of Florida. 30, 35 mile an hour winds, gusting up to 40 in times, but the center is way out here, so look at that. I mean, it's amazing how far out these winds are extending for a tropical storm that far away from the state of Florida. Here's the upper level winds from the University of Wisconsin, and this is what I wanted to mention. First of all, the high pressure system that would normally travel with a hurricane is off to the northeast. Now, if this can find a way to vertically get on top of Isaac and allow that thing to act like a smokestack and let that air rise up to the center of the eye, then we could see some rapid intensification. But the way it looks right now, again, we have that upper level low over here, we have a high off to the northeast, and we have a trough moving in, so it's just not real ideal conditions for hurricanes to develop. Plus, we have dry air that may wrap. You see this a lot of times in the northern Gulf of Mexico. You see systems about to move on shore, and all that dry air wraps into the southern side of the hurricane and erodes it. So chances are the worst weather from this system for the northern Gulf Coast is going to be as the system approaches on the northern side of the eye wall. That's where the worst weather is going to be. And then, of course, the surge will move in, and that's what you really need to be concerned about with what will be Hurricane Isaac at that point. All right, let's take a look at the models at Hurricane City over the sea surface temperatures. And these are the best performing models. Believe it or not, the UK Met models have been the best performer overall on Isaac, and if you look here, you'll see that the red model and the purple model here on the map are both European, not the European, the UK Met models, EGRI model, and they're off by about 103 miles at 5 days. So those are the overall best performing models. Taking it into Mississippi, the Aqua models over here are the TV consensus models based on a lot on the GFS models, and that's taking it into, Grand Isle, some of those models even take it off to the west here, riding along the coast up towards western Louisiana, the GFS version. So it's again a battle between, and the European is somewhere in the middle here, taking it up into Mississippi right now. So Mississippi needs to be very cautious of this as well, but nevertheless, between New Orleans and Alabama-Mississippi border, there's going to be a lot of water piling in here. Now notice the sea surface temperatures right around 30 degrees Celsius. That's about 86, 87 degree water temperatures. Not getting a whole heck of a lot warmer than where it's at right now. So the water temperatures aren't really going to make any much of a difference at this point, although it is warm out there. We need to have vertical alignment of the high pressure over the top of the system and have this system functioning like a well-oiled machine in order to really intensify. But I think it'll be slow intensification all the way up until landfall to a hurricane status. As far as intensity is concerned, the GFDL model has been the best on intensity, and that has it up to a 75 mile an hour hurricane at landfall. And that GFDL model has been off by about 13.7 knots going out about 5 days. So the GFDL has done a pretty good job on intensity, although the track has been questionable. Anyway, that's about it for now. We'll be back tomorrow morning with another update on this system. For those of you that may have been watching HurricaneCity.tv last night, yesterday during the day as we were chasing Isaac down in Key West, we had the live IP cam going in the dash cam, and we had Bill Phillips in the studio doing a lot of the images for the audience, but we were following storm chaser Jim Leonard down there, and he had all kinds of car problems. We had to leave his car down in Marathon. We're going to have to go back and get that somehow, some way, but it overheated, so we came back in my truck. But Overall, it was a successful chase, but the winds we witnessed down there, maybe 50, 60 miles an hour, nothing big. There wasn't really any damage down there that I could see or any major flooding in Key West. But the big story has been the power outages in South Florida. Here's an outage map from South Florida. We still have about 21,000 without power in Palm Beach County here. We have 22,000 without power in Broward County, and we have 27,000 without power in Dade, and probably even more down in the Florida Keys. So overall, about 80,000 people without power in South Florida from a system that was way far away. So keep that in mind if you're in the northern Gulf Coast. Don't pay attention to the point of landfall. This is a large, broad circulation with a lot of wind in it. We'll get more details on the landfall scenario. Current feature is New Orleans, Louisiana at Hurricane City. You can get all the localized information, including outage maps like the one you're looking at right there from New Orleans. Anyway, that's it for now. Good luck to the people in the Northern Gulf prepared for flooding and high winds. That's it for now. Check the latest at hurricanecity.com, and we'll be back with another update in the morning. Thank you again for visiting Hurricane City.